Well, let me go across to our panelists. Joining us today on the show, Charu Pragya, BJP spokesperson. Rohan Mitra is also joining us, a political analyst. I'm going to come to you, Charu Pragya, because we need to understand the nomenclature. What is the strategy of the BJP, the Prime Minister himself, in changing the nomenclature from the Uniform Civil Code, as it has always been called by the BJP, now calling it a secular civil code? Is it post-poll readjustment where your Hindutva agenda may be set aside?
Our government has always spoken about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and that cannot happen unless all religions in this country are treated equally, especially the women of all religions. They must be treated equally. And that is what secularism means. Secularism is not this form of pseudo-secularism that is being floated around by the opposition for their own political gains. Let's be honest. Why is it that the rights of a majority don't matter as much as the rights of the minority? Why is it that a woman born in a minority family will not have the same rights to the property of her ancestors or over her children as the woman born in a majority household? You cannot decide what law is going to be applicable to you by a mere coincidence of birth. If you're an Indian citizen, Indian law is going to be applicable, and the law of the land is above every other thing. Even Islamic nations don't really follow Sharia, and Sharia till now has been a stand of convenience. For criminal law, you don't want Sharia. For civil law, you want Sharia because it suits the men. I think the Prime Minister, by changing the nomenclature today, has put things in clear perspective. We are talking about equality for all. We are talking about a country where every single child is born with the same rights and the same opportunities, and only by a mere coincidence of birth, their rights are not going to be snatched away. I think he's done a wonderful thing by changing the nomenclature.
Rohan Mitra, is that right? The opposition, in the garb of secularism, is trying to deny Muslim women and their rights. Let's not forget the Muslim Personal Law Board also has provisions for things like child marriage, for different laws on alimony, and of course polygamy. Is that something that you, your parties, your alliance partners want to go ahead?
Good evening, Meghna. Meghna, can you please ask the BJP to check where there's their allies, the JDS, the LJP, the TDP, where do they stand on this? Is there a
We'll get
draft?
to that. We'll get to that.
No, let me put my points. There is an Article 25 in the Constitution. Is there any draft of this bill which the Prime Minister suddenly mentions today in his speech today? Has there been any draft for me to discuss on what the Prime Minister means? Or see, I don't want to talk much about what his stand is from a public platform. He has to speak about these things in Parliament. We have a parliament there which makes these laws. Has there been any draft on this for the last 10 years the BJP has been in power? Where is the draft of the Uniform Civil Code or this new secular civil code? What is the question you're asking me? I do not know. I'm not going to comment on what the Prime Minister is going to say.
Where does Congress stand when it comes to polygamy? Where does the Congress stand when it comes to child marriage? Can I have a limited answer to that?
No. So this cannot be a limited answer, Meghna. When you're talking about constitutional changes. When you're talking about constitutional changes, you cannot ask me to give you a limited answer and then...
Okay, Rohan Mitra, if you want to quote the Constitution, allow me to quote the Supreme Court, when it has also cited the very Constitution that you ironically is also citing. In 1985, Supreme Court on the Shah Bano order had said, Article 44 has remained a dead letter. There is no evidence of any official activity of framing a common civil code. It will help national integration by removing disparate loyalties to laws. This is the Supreme Court, which have conflicting ideologies. A beginning has to be made if the Constitution has to have any meaning. Again, later in 1995, at the Sarla Mudgal case, you had the Supreme Court say, I'm going to quote the Supreme Court here again, successive governments till date have been wholly remiss in their duty of implementing the constitutional mandate under Article 44. Are you, Rohan Mitra, rejecting what the Supreme Court has said, rejecting what the Supreme Court has said, the Constitution and Article 44 has said? Straight question.
No. Meghna, yes, I'm going to give you a straight answer, Meghna. You're asking me very specific questions. All right, I'm going to give you a very straight answer here. There's an Article 25 also which allows people to, go ahead and practice their personal laws as well as their laws which are coming. So let's keep this focus, right? You know, when you say something like this, when the Prime Minister of India speaks at the, on the 15th of August, when he brings up such an important issue, let him bring the draft of this bill. We saw what happened with the Waqf Board bill. It has gone back now to the JPC. There is a JPC there. Let them discuss. You asking me specifics. If there are good things which are going to come out of this law, I'm sure the party is going to address it.
But Congress said Samvidhan Bachao, which is why I had asked you that specific question about the constitution.